Take 1. Love is in the air. Oh, wait. Is the line Lou is in the air? Oh, I'm so confused. Oh, okay. I got this. Take 2. Lou is in the air. What? I thought you guys just said that it was Lou that was in the... whatever. Take 3. Love. Wait, no Lou. Wait, no love. I give up. I think the point is to say that whichever one is in the air, make sure you guys love big and thrive loud this Valentine's Day.
This is Michael Houlihan.
And this is Bonnie Harvey.
And we're from the Barefoot Spirit.
And you're listening to Lou Diamond on Thrive Loud.
Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond, and today on Thrive Loud, I have the original founders of the iconic Barefoot Wine brand and two of the most sought-after workshop leaders, keynote speakers, and interview guests on business and executive topics. Audiences worldwide attend their speeches to hear about their incredible journey as entrepreneurs and to learn about their unique Barefoot Spirit, sales-driven culture and approach, which has helped to establish one of the most recognizable wine brands globally. Most recently, they have further adapted their teachings and launched the Barefoot Startup movement, which encourages lean, early-stage startups to adopt key bootstrapping tenets and sales-driven principles and tactics. Today, their timeless barefoot business principles and proven strategies are utilized by both startups and large enterprises everywhere. And they are here with us on Thrive Loud to share more with us. So Thrive Loud listeners, I bring you Michael Houlihan and Bonnie Harvey. Michael and Bonnie, how are you today?
We are fabulous and so happy to be here with you and your audience, Lou.
Michael, are you there too, or you're just letting her do all the talking?
I let her do all the talking. That way there's no fighting.
Excellent. Well, we're very excited to have you on. Our show has those that, as we like to say, are thriving in their lives, their businesses, and their passions. And I think that's something that the two of you have embodied your entire careers. And I think will be really cool because our world wants to understand a little bit more about what the Barefoot Spirit culture is all about. Can you guys kick off in however way you want to do it and share with our listeners a little bit of this startup movement that you guys are leading forward and talking about?
So the Barefoot Spirit is really an attitude. You know, like you say, that guy's got great spirit, or the team has team spirit. And you're talking about, you know, the stuffing, the go power, you know, what it is that makes them confident, what it is that takes them over the goal line, why they work so well together. So we call this the Barefoot Spirit. It's really about company culture, and it starts from the top. It's all about permission, and it's all about sales.
Yes, and it's also about getting along with people. It's about communicating in a way that the other person can understand so you can get your message across. And the bottom line with the Barefoot Spirit is learning how to put yourself in the other guy's shoes. It's having compassion. It's having empathy. It's having patience for the other guy so you can communicate with that person in a way that they will find acceptable. And actually, that has been a challenge for me and Michael. We have so many wonderful lessons we want to share, and there's so many different ways of communicating them depending on to whom we're speaking.
And
we're happy to be here with your audience.
Yeah, and that brings up another thing. It's not just simply put yourself in the other guy's shoes. Okay, got it, down the road. No. It's like, who is the other guy? And where has he been walking? And what we found when we built the Barefoot Wine brand, and when we found working with our clients today and people that are challenged with entrepreneurship all over the world, is they need to know who each individual is in the three relationships that they have as business owners. Number one is with your own employees. Number two is with your vendors. Those are the people that help you out with services or products or whatever. And then number three are your customers. So each one of those three areas has people within it, and every one of those people have different needs. And so you can't just go out there and start preaching, your benefits and features about your product. You have to see what they want. And then you have to start finding out by asking more questions, than giving answers. We like to say, if you want to make, a statement, you'll go broke. But if you want to make a deposit, you'll go to the bank.
Oh, I like it. I want to ask this question. And by the way, I'm finding incredible irony about the fact that, and I'm all about empathy and standing in the shoes of another, but yet it's a barefoot shoes. So I'll get confused on that analogy at some point or another. But Michael and Bonnie, here's a good question. Of those three challenges that you see, Michael, that you just mentioned of where people are, is one, in your experience in working with different companies and workshops, is one sticking out more than the other? Working with the people in the companies, with your clients and externally, help understand which one do you think you're seeing is a bigger problem of having people really understand the shoes or the barefootness that they're standing in?
Well, first of all, it's your employees that is the face of your company, of your business, to your vendors and to your customers. So we always have to start with our employees. And how they communicate with vendors and customers determines how those vendors and customers relate to your company. So we always have to make them understand how important they are, make them understand that their opinions and their ideas are really important to us. And I think key when working with employees is allowing them to be creative, which can result, as anyone who's been a manager or a business owner knows, in mistakes. So in order to make a mistake right, we have realized that we have to write things down. We have to make changes to policies, procedures, contracts, checklists, et cetera, to improve them so our communication is better with the vendors and customers that we deal with. So we have to give our employees the freedom to make mistakes as long as they do something to make that mistake less likely to happen again.
It's very true. And I wanted to ask this question from the types of companies, because one of the things that I have found in helping to consult and help people connect better is that certain organizations, if they have a culture that's familiar with working with external people to help really instill change, those are the ones that tend to thrive versus those that are not necessarily the ones that like to have outside folks come in and opine and change. Are you finding a certain industry or sector or types of companies that are embracing your culture more often than not?
Well, we find that early stage startups and build-ups are embracing our culture more than build-outs and enterprise. And what we mean by startup, you don't know if you're going to make it. You could go bankrupt tomorrow. You don't even have any real customers. You're just operating on your investment. Those people are humbled by that. So they're looking for ways to engage their employees and to get the best ideas. And then people that are like building up, they got a few customers that are paying all their bills, but they're scared to death because they got all their eggs in one basket. They understand it very well. I mean, these guys are a little concerned, but once they start to get to build out, that's when they start putting people on the payroll who don't necessarily know or care about how the money comes in, even to pay their own check. And they're more interested in their professional background. So that's when things begin to change in companies. And we like to go in there and point those out to them before they happen. And we've worked with companies that are already to a point, where their corporate rules and regulations and, the people in human resources and the attorneys have got them tied into knots, and they suppress a lot of great ideas. We like to say, make sure your people know the need rather than need to know. So it's just the opposite. It threatens a lot of companies.
Gotcha. I've always found this fascinating. For those that have been successful in one line of work, get out of that work and are trying to share their expertise in getting your own business running. Just from my own curiosity, have you been deploying the Barefoot Spirit for your own way that you're developing your own Barefoot Startup business and some of the challenges maybe that you're facing as the owners of this new entity that's you guys delivering your message in your workshops and your key learnings to companies and businesses around the globe at this point.
In other words, is it harder selling intellectual content than wine?
Yes. well played. Well played, Michael.
It is totally harder. You have a couple of trends that are going on right now. You've got people that are teaching people speaking all the time and teaching people, how to present their concepts. Well, there's so many people out there now that they're driving the fees to the floor. I mean, it's hard to get paid for speaking anymore. Everybody wants you to have some alternative motive for getting up on stage. They say, well, speak for free. You're going to have access to our audience. But, I think that's going to change when people get tired of paying to go to a pitch fest. They really want to have some real ideas and real principles. So that's one challenge we face is trying to get paid for speaking. We do have several people that have paid us, and these are big events and internationally because they recognize that we're giving real value and not trying to upsell them from the stage. Right. The second biggest challenge is, how do you get folks to monetize you for your experience and whatnot? Everybody expects to get that for free. Well, what we found is that when you deal with individuals on a one-to-one basis, they recognize your experience and they put a lot of value on your guidance. You can basically say, look, I just don't want you to make the same mistakes that I made. And so we work with those people on a fee basis and on a percentage of their equity basis. So that's an example of a model that seems to be working for us. We also have written books. You can try to sell books. It's hard to sell books. People don't really want to buy books. What we usually do is require our host to buy a certain number of books for the conferences in which we speak, and then we stay and sign the books. So that's one way to sell books. We are trying new things all the time, Lou. I mean, one of the things that we're trying right now is a new audio book we're pretty excited about. It's a theatrical style. We'll talk more about that later.
Hey there! If you're enjoying how Lou is connecting with this guest in this interview, then just imagine how impactful he can be in person. As an international speaker and consultant, Lou Diamond is all about getting organizations to thrive through the power of connecting. To learn more about how you can hire Lou to speak at your company, your conference, or your next event, head on over to loudiamond.net and click the Book Lou button to learn more. He'll truly get everyone to thrive loud. All right, let's get back to the show.
Wanted to get to this point because this is the question that I ask all the guests that come on the show, and then I'm going to dive back more into some of the Barefoot philosophies. I love asking the guests that come on the show when you're having an off day and things aren't flowing the way that you would like to, and you want to get back on the thriving track. What practice do you seek, or what individuals do you look to help you get back to thriving again?
Well, one of the things we do is we go out and take a walk. Okay. And we're partners, and so we have each other. So we can be out there and breathing some fresh air and discuss whatever our challenge is with each other. And we may be able to solve whatever the challenge is that way. And if not, we'll call someone that we consider more of an expert in that particular field that we are, and we'll ask for some advice. Because we've never been shy about asking people for their advice.
But, the fuel of tenacity is validation. And so one of the things that we like to do is call up people who are early adopters or people who have really benefited by what we have to offer and say, Bill, I'd really like you to tell me again why what we did for you was so great, why it helped you. I could really use it right now.
No, I like that. So I want to go into some of the things that you're seeing and trends that you're seeing today from a lot of these lean types of companies and startups that you're dealing with. Look, who knows what direction the economy is going up and down, and we always see ebbs and flows, but there's always new companies that are out there. From your purview and the things that you're able to help companies with your Barefoot Startup movement, what is the number one problem that these smaller organizations and startups have before they're connecting and meeting with you?
Well, what we've seen is that people come up with a great idea and they think that's all it's going to take to be a screaming success. All they need now is some money. So they start looking for the VCs. Well, that's not exactly the way it should be. We believe that what you have to do is take a good look at all your resources and make the best use of what you've got before you go out there looking for a bunch of money, thinking that you can throw money at the problem and that will solve it. Because more often than not, it doesn't. What has to take place is some feet on the ground experience. We like to see our young clients get out and make some sales. Find out from your customers what it is that they want. Find out how your product is accepted by the end user. Find out what your customers are interested in besides the product or services that you're offering, and see if you can't join in on some of those groups or organizations that they're part of. Going out and trying to get some money right off the bat so you can grow before you've learned your lessons. In other words, before you learn to walk or even crawl, you're out there trying to run. Is rarely a good idea. And that, I think, is the biggest problem with young startups.
I wanted to jump in and ask this question because this is an interesting one. It is very rare in life to have had the success that you guys have had with having a larger wine company actually purchase yours. What would it take, again, for you to see a certain opportunity to say, hey, let's try to wash, rinse, and repeat and do that again? Do you think that what would be the thing that would it be? Would it be another industry? Would it be something similar? What are those things that you would have to see for you to focus on maybe looking at that opportunity?
Well, one of the things that we advise our clients about, and it applies to ourselves, is who is going to buy your business and why. Basically, before you get started, tell me why your business is going to have equity that can be acquired. In other words, can your business ever run by itself? Is your business scalable? Do you know what the metrics are that can get you to the point that you become an acquisition target? So those are the questions that I would want to have satisfied before I jumped in with both feet in any new venture. And we certainly recommend that people follow those 3 questions as well.
Great. Now, the interesting question before we get to some of the fun admin pieces, not that this hasn't been fun from the very beginning. The two of you working together as partners. Partners are difficult to have. A lot of people in life have trouble working as partners in whatever relationships they have between themselves or whatever. How has that evolved from in the previous company into today? Obviously, you guys seem to be unbelievably coordinated working together. What challenges that you do face when you have a conflict with one another, and how do you go about resolving it?
There are many differences of opinions. I don't know that I exactly call them conflicts, but Michael and I have been together for 35 years, and we've kind of learned in that length of time how to get along. We actually give talks about how couples can be in business together. And the first thing we say is, kids, don't try this at home. Most of the time, it does not work. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with either one of you, and it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your business idea. Most couples can be quite satisfied not being in business together. We were fortunate in the fact that we had different skill sets, and that we had the same goals, but we took different tracks to get there. So we appreciated and respected each other's difference of opinion, and that's what it took to really make our company more successful, was working with someone who has a different opinion, different skill set, and respects you and the company goals. So as far as what we did when we had a conflict, we would discuss the various sides of that conflict, try to be very open-minded about it, and that you would usually resolve matters. We also had a board of directors, which had 4 people total on it. So we had 2 other people to seek their opinions. And we purposely had an even number because we didn't believe in the odd number. So whatever the votes are, one side's going to win.
The other side's going to say, I told you so.
I told you so. We had unanimous decisions.
Or no decision.
Or none. And our next approach, if that didn't work so well, was going, again, as I said before, to people that we felt had more experience or expertise in the certain subject matter that we were having difficulty with. And there's always trying to sleep on it. You put your idea, your problem in your mind before you go to sleep. You put a big smile on your face and you go, now the answer will come to me by morning. And half the time it does.
I was going to say, Michael, do you want to opine on this? But I wouldn't go down that avenue. Yeah.
All I can say is I just want to underline what Bonnie said about different skill sets.
Yeah.
It's so important. If you've got people that are in business and they both have the same skill set, you're really asking for it. You're going to have differences of opinion about how to do things within the same skill set. At least if the other person knows how to do the books and you know how to do the sales, you're not going to get involved in the books because you don't know how.
Right. No, it's very true.
So,
I think it's very true. And the division of roles and responsibilities. And to your point, I love that line, Bonnie. Do not try this at home. It's really a very important point and a rare thing to see, which is why I brought it out, because I think kudos to the success to both of you in recognizing how to be successful in both areas of your life. And that, is important across the board.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Let's take this to the admin part of the show. Michael or Bonnie, we're going to provide all of this in the show notes. Share all of the places people can find you, some of the programs you have on the schedule, things coming up this year. This is your opportunity to plug away to the Thrive Loud community, who I know are fans of yours already because they were requested your presence on this show. So share away, Michael and Bonnie.
Okay, well, first of all, if you'd like to know more about us or have us as speakers or take a look at any of our materials, and we have a huge amount of free stuff, you can go to www.thebarefootspirit.com. So that's one place you can go. If you have a great idea for a new product that you'd like to see at your local store, or just something you can't buy and you've always wanted to go into business and do it, you want to know more about consumer packaged goods, which is what Barefoot really was. That's what Barefoot Wine is. It's a consumer packaged good. We have a whole site called www.consumerbrandbuilders.com. And there is over 500 articles on that site that covers everything from how you make a logo to how you make a label to how you get your product through distribution and everything else. And then our most recent and most exciting thing is a theatrical version of our New York Times bestseller, The Barefoot Spirit, How Hardship, Hustle, and Heart Built America's #1 wine brand. And we've got actors playing out the parts. So you can listen to it on your buds when you're jogging or when you're commuting. And you can be entertained and educated by the banter back and forth. And that would be at www.barefootaudiobook.com.
Awesome.
So there you go.
That was very informative and very full. And I will have all the links there for all the listeners who can check it out on Michael and Bonnie's landing page here on Thrive Loud. How cool is that going to be for both of you, by the way, when that theatrical piece has been laid out? Are you excited, nervous about it as it releases?
Oh, we're always excited about it. We're very excited because it's a different way of communicating our message to other people. Once again, it's all lessons in story form. And that's the way people learn best, is through story form. And we've recently gotten together with some of the institutions that support the blind or visually impaired. And they're very excited about it as well. So I think that we can get the message out to more people. It's a great message, and yeah, we're ready to go.
I like it. I like it, and rocking and ready here. I'm going to finish this show off here with the two of you with the signature question of Thrive Loud, and then an additional one because I want to know where this one goes. Okay, the signature question here on Thrive Loud for each of you is, what is your all-time favorite movie? Whoever wants to go first can jump in.
Well, I like Bottle Shock.
Oh.
And the reason I like Bottle Shock is because it's a great historical, true piece with lots of humor in it. And it's about wine, but it's about American wine, which heretofore hadn't been respected in Europe, that comes into the #1 contest in Europe, in Paris, France, and beats all the European wines.
I like it. And you, Bonnie?
Well, my favorite movie is actually Being There. I don't know if you've seen that or not. It's a movie. It was produced many years ago. Peter Sellers and Ringo Starr.
Yes. Okay.
And it's what an unlimited amount of money will make people do. The most foolish, silly things. And it's very entertaining. So I love humor, and this one keeps me laughing all the way through.
All right. So with that, and now I'm going to ask the question, you have a chance to kick back and sit back on a porch on a nice day. The day has come down and you'd like to wrap the day up with a glass of wine. What is your go-to glass that you would like to have?
Our personal house wine is the McMurray Ranch Reserve Pinot Noir.
I like it.
It's Russian River Valley appellation. Which is in Sonoma County, larger appellation. Yeah.
Love it. See, we got educated about movies. We got educated about wine. We got educated about key messages for startups and sales. You guys have pulled it all together and couple work and life management all together. If you didn't get something out of this, Thrive Loud listeners, you obviously weren't listening from the beginning. I can't thank you, Michael, Houlihan, Bonnie, Harvey, enough for coming on this show. This was a treat for me and a treat for our listeners as well.
Thanks, Lou. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, we had a great time.
Truly a pleasure. I can't wait to get to your neighborhood so I can knock on your door and we could kick back and have a couple of these glasses and probably kick back and watch Bottle Shock at the same time.
Well, we'll keep the porch light open and the wine ready.
Perfect. Thanks again to the two of you for coming on. And to all the Thrive Lab listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. And follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Thrive Loud. Or find us on the web at thriveloud.com.